Alright guys, we are headed out. What I'm going to do is head to the emissions test station. We have I ran through the first couple drive cycles, but I did just hook up my code reader to it, and it's showing that all the drive cycles except for one are complete. These guys do this every freaking time. These guys block the shipping and receiving with their van, and then these guys park on the road on this bad corner. I hate that. Anyway, happens to me like every single morning coming down here. And then some guy walks all the way out, moves that van, and the tractor trailer can pull in, and then they repeat the process. Like, why can't you guys just get a gate? Just get a gate if you don't want people in there. Because I'm pretty sure, at least where I live in Connecticut, they will allow you to go through the emissions test with one parameter still pending. So if I can get that done, then this will be done, and I don't have to worry about it anymore, and then I can move on to the next thing. Morning, Bill. One emissions test, please.
My internet's down right at the moment. Yeah, I walked in this morning, no heat, no internet. I'm like, really? Yeah.
Gotta love Mondays.
Oh, yeah.
Alright,
reboot right now, I don't...
maybe I'll come back after at lunch?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. They couldn't do the test because their internet's down, and apparently their heat isn't working either. It was really cold in their building. So, I mean, there is another emissions testing place up here, but I don't like going to them. They're like super shady, and I really like Bill. I've been bringing all my vehicles to Bill, so I'll just wait, because he's a good guy, and he, you know, not that he really makes anything off of it, but it's just nice to be loyal and use the same people that have treated you well. So, I'll try to bring this back at lunch. In the meantime, I'm gonna get some breakfast, and then I got a couple of vehicles that I have to work on at the shop, and we'll go and do that. So actually, the first thing I'm gonna do this morning is, this mirror has been bothering me ever since I've been driving this thing around to basically, you know, do the drive cycles and everything. It wiggles on the base here. It's not tight. So while you're looking at it, you know, while you're driving down the road, it's going like this. And it's super distracting, and it's super annoying. So I'm going to see if I can tighten up this clip in here, and maybe that'll fix the problem. So I ended up having to put it back on because I didn't take a video of it, but there's a part of it that's broken inside, and it looks like someone's tried to take that off, or maybe it's had some issues with it in the past, because it's all like, the actual mount that's glued to the glass is really all scratched up and worn out, and I think that's where this wobble is coming from. So my next plan is I'm going to get a small shim and try to shim it just so that it doesn't wobble. Better. Way better. So I basically just took, see, you guys can't even really tell what I did, can you? But if I let the white balance catch up, well, even then it's kind of hard to see. So I took a, man, you really can't see that. It keeps on trying to focus on the outside, but come on, there we go. I took a piece of a Bondo putty knife, plastic putty knife, rubber putty knife, and cut it down. And it actually has the same profile as the little tint thing, that the mirror glues to. And I just shoved it in there underneath the trim real tight. And yeah, it's not wiggling anymore. So I'm just going to clean up my fingerprints that I put all over everything, and then hopefully this thing is done. Alright, so update. I took the Landrover to go get emissions, and it failed. 2 reasons. One, I double checked this morning when I first brought it over there, and it only had one radius monitor that hadn't set yet. So apparently sometime between then and when I brought it over there, another one of the radius monitors is not ready anymore. So it failed for that, because it can't have 2, it can only have 1. And apparently the ECU was replaced at one time, and they never reprogrammed the proper VIN or took it to the dealership or whatever. So the VIN number doesn't match the VIN number on the paperwork. So it got flagged for fraud. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. But I'm going to just try to drive it around a little bit more later on and try to get that other radius monitor to set and take it again before the end of the day or something, because it's just, I'm just getting really sick of dealing with it. I'm so sick of this thing. I am getting so frustrated with this thing. So I just took this thing for another half hour down past, 5 or 6 exits down and back. Did the whole drive cycle thing with the 35 miles an hour and the 45 miles an hour and the 55 miles an hour and the 8 minutes of driving on the highway at 60 miles an hour and then a couple minutes of driving it. I did it all. Did all of it. I come back and I'm checking. And so this is the system status currently. Monitors incomplete. 6! Now 6. There's more monitors incomplete than there were before. I don't know why. Still no check engine light. It's running. Seems to be running fine. I just want this thing to go through emissions. So now, I'm sitting here, letting it idle for 3 minutes before I shut it off, and then I have to wait and let it cool down. It's got to cool down to, use your inside voice, Devin, use your inside voice. Engine coolant temperature is less than 95 degrees Fahrenheit, or 35 degrees Celsius. And then I can do, 2 minutes, 2 length 35, 2 EX 25, 2 parts 35, cruise at 60 for 5 minutes, cruise at 50 for 5 minutes, cruise at 35 for 5 minutes, I have 2 minutes, and then I can press E, which I'm going to have to get gas for. When I look at them individually, the only 2 that I see are showing up as incomplete are catalyst monitoring and evaporative system monitoring. Now the catalyst monitoring, I understand. Like, it has to do some stuff. It's got to run some numbers. It's got to think about the O2 sensors and everything. But the evaporative system monitoring, I don't understand what's so hard about setting that monitor. Like, all it has to do is pull a vacuum on the tank and see if it holds the vacuum. That's the only thing it has to do. Like, what other complicated thing is there about the evaporative system? Like, it literally just holds fuel vapor in there until the computer tells the purge valve to open up and burn it off. Like, just pull a vacuum, close the valve, see if the vacuum stays. Okay, good, there's no leaks. Done. Set. So, outside temperature's like 30 degrees right now. This thing's been sitting for like 3 hours. I'm gonna see what the engine coolant temperature is. 79 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, that should be plenty cold for us to... Surprising, it's still 80 degrees though. I mean, it's been sitting for 3 hours. That thing really holds some heat. Alright, we're on 3. Start engine, 2 minutes. And then for 2 light accelerations, 35, for 2 medium accelerations, 35, 45, 55, and then 60 for 5 minutes, 50 for 5, 60, 65, 55, 35, 4, 5, 60, 35. And then allow engine to idle for 2 minutes. You ever just feel like you're just having a day where everything's just fighting you? So, I have just a hair over a quarter of a tank right now. And I know that some of these tests require that the tank be between a quarter and 3/4 full for evap purposes, but none of those specifically state that. The only one that specifically states that it has to be over a quarter is the last E one. But now I'm nervous. I'm like, all right, do I get gas? And you're like, oh, what's the big deal? Just leave it running and finish doing the rest of the drive cycle afterwards. But it's a Landrover, and you cannot open the gas door unless the vehicle is off. So thanks for that, Landrover, because by now it's too warm to wait for it to cool back down again, and yeah, I'm just whatever. I'm driving it. Alright, so this is now day, I don't even know what, of driving the Landrover. And I still have 2 incomplete readiness monitors. And honestly, I'm really starting to get frustrated with it. I followed every single drive cycle pretty much to the letter. I've repeated ones that I thought maybe I didn't do that well. That maybe I, didn't hold exactly 60 miles an hour for 8 minutes. Maybe I should redo that one. And, maybe I, didn't accelerate hard enough or accelerate soft enough for some of them. And I feel like I've done every drive cycle A through D at least once, and I'd say at least 2 or 3 of them twice, and it's still not setting the readiness monitors. I know I still have to do E, but as far as I can tell from all the information that I've read, even without doing E, it should still set the evap and the catalyst one. It should do the heated O2 sensor, the catalyst, and the evap one, and it's not. Alright guys, we're at emissions again for the Landrover. I'm going to attempt to leave my camera running to see if I can pick up anything from the second test that they do that might help me out in the future. So, here we go. Pass, baby. Pass. Big ol' P-A-S-S. Alright, guys, so the Landrover has passed, and I just gotta do a little bit of paperwork, and that's all set. Thank God.